Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my all-in pay-per-view review. The first ever independent wrestling show produced in a 10,000 seated arena in Sears Center in Chicago. I'm not going to go through every single match because I don't have them memorized by heart in my head. And I don't have a way of going ahead and actually reviewing this based on each and every match that happened off the top of my head. But my only criticism about All In was the booking of these matches. I think these matches were booked in the wrong order, and the 6-man tag team matchup did not get the kind of credibility it needed, and I believe it was because of time constraints, most importantly. It seemed like when the match ended, you could tell that this was time constraints if you were watching this on pay-per-view. You could hear them "let's go" off the air as the match ended. And you had Ian, one of their head announcers on the broadcast team, stating this. So you definitely knew that something with their timing was a little bit off. So they had to rush everything with that main event. Not to mention that main event really shouldn't have been the main event. There was two matches that deserved to be the main event, and that was the NWA Championship match with Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis. Those two guys put on a old school type classic main event type style match, and I think that match deserved a little bit better. Just getting into that match, in the sense that there was a long period of time of rest where they were selling Cody Rhodes for having I would assume a concussion type injury storyline to make this match go on, and also on top of it make it seem like it was going to be canceled and thrown out altogether. Cody Rhodes leaped off the top rope and ate a elbow forearm to the face. The spot of where he was hit was actually a pretty good spot, making it believable of the blade job. The problem was this break that they had. This long duration of time where they made it seem as if Cody Rhodes sustained a concussion or injury took so long for us to see him actually bleed. When you do something like this, they should have just immediately took a few moments, not even, but maybe close to a minute, and then show Cody Rhodes bleeding. Not having Earl Hebner do the X sign saying that somebody's gotten injured or anything like that. It should have just been a short, to the point type moment where Cody Rhodes blade himself and he shows off the blood and shows that he was cut from the forearm to the head. We did see DDP in action. It was pretty cool to see him, but was it very necessary? I don't think so. It should have been focused on the current day talent that's in the middle of the ring and in the matchup itself. So that is one thing I did not agree with what they did either. It made the match kind of slow, so they had to rebuild the match back up, which eventually led with Cody Rhodes getting the NWA World Championship. Very satisfied with that match. Some other criticism about the show. The quality of the sound and so forth was a little off. But that in itself, it's an independent wrestling show. They have a little bit more of a limited budget, so having expectations to have sound quality as good as WWE is asking a little bit much, but it makes the presentation of the show very good. But that's not something to bash them for. What was good? I'm talking mostly negatives here, but the show wasn't all negatives. There was a lot of positives as well. Most importantly, the in-ring performances were fantastic. Most of them were very good. The only disappointing match that I really did not like, and this is shocking because most of the matches Jay Lethal has had in the past, I actually have enjoyed. That match with Flip Gordon, which I've seen Flip Gordon in several matches on Ring of Honor, and I gotta say, that was by far the worst performance by either one of these two guys. It was like as if it was like they didn't even care. Like there was no effort put into this, and pretty much everybody on the card put a lot of effort. It was too much focus on Jay Lethal being switched from Macho Man Randy Savage to fucking to Jay Lethal back and forth. I found it funny and entertaining, but at the same time, it took away their in-ring capability of what they do in the ring on a day-to-day basis. So these two guys did not put on the best match possible in comparison to what they've done in the past. So, I'm a little upset with that matchup itself, but other than that, I'm not too down about it, so sort of say, because I did like the Macho Man references and the Hulk Hogan reference and all that, and them doing a 3 elbow drops on Flip Gordon, like Macho Man did to Ric Flair in WrestleMania 8. But at the end of the day, when you go outside of what is in the ring and focus on past history, it takes the value away from the match. And I believe that is definitely a prime example in this matchup you see. So, bottom line, I kind of didn't like the idea, but at the same time, it did entertain me. I can't deny that. I was entertained. It's just the in-ring quality wasn't as good as it was in the past by these two guys, as what I have seen in the past from these two guys. What else did I can say positive? Pentagon and Kenny Omega stole the fucking show. Hands down, nobody even came close to this matchup. This matchup was by far the best match on the whole fucking card. You could tell me whatever you want to tell me. The 6-man tag team match, the Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis, for the NWA Championship, which is a very prestigious title in heavyweight wrestling. But at the end of the day, Kenny Omega and Pentagon Jr. are the best in in-ring performances. Pentagon Jr. in the last 2 months since Slammiversary has been on a roll when it comes to in-ring competition. This guy is a good wrestler. He's very good at hardcore rules matches. So you could get him swinging either way you want. You want him in a 5-star classic one-on-one matchup, clean match, you're going to get that. And you're going to get a fucking fun, entertaining match out of the guy. He will put on a show that nobody has seen in a long time. Quite frank with you, this was an awesome matchup, and I was so glad to watch it. And he was competing up against one of the best in-ring competitors today, Kenny Omega. There is so much wrestling ability in this guy. I don't know between Seth Rollins and Kenny Omega who is really the best in-ring competitor. AJ Styles comes in number 3 behind these two guys because these two guys are blowing him away. AJ used to be one of the greatest, number 1 overall wrestler in professional wrestling. But as time has gone on, since he went to WWE, he's declined in my opinion. Is he still entertaining, AJ Styles? Absolutely. I absolutely enjoy watching his matches. I really do. But at the same time, Seth Rollins and Kenny Omega are unbelievable, especially this year. Kenny Omega last year was unbelievable. Seth Rollins, he was dealing with injuries, but now he's finally become healthy, and Seth Rollins, now with the Intercontinental Championship, seems to make that title mean something. And I honestly, I am completely mesmerized by what Seth Rollins recently did with fucking Kevin Owens. Those two guys put on a hell of a match. And these two guys, Pentagon and Kenny Omega, speaks volumes in comparison with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins did. And they had those people out of their seat. No doubt about it. At that Monday Night Raw episode, they were the best match on the whole fucking card. It was too easy. But this show had so many good matches, but yet this match stands out the most. And that's what makes Kenny Omega one of the best in-ring performers in the world. Yeah, he may be repetitive with the knee strike, but he is, God, he's like Seth Rollins on a whole nother level. That I see Seth Rollins all written all over Kenny Omega, but on a higher level. That's all there is to be said about Kenny Omega. These two guys beat the hell out of each other. They didn't have to use chairs, they didn't have to use weapons, they didn't have to do anything hardcore. They went in there and they wrestled each other and were stiff to one another. They banged each other up to hell. Pentagon Jr. did a fold-up power slam. Basically, I forgot the name of the move that Pentagon's finisher is, but he kind of puts you in like a pedigree type hold, but then he picks you up somewhat in like and he holds your legs while you're flipped up in the air, and he drives your head into the mat in a tombstone pile driver type finish. And he did this on the hard part of the ring, on the apron, in the middle of a regular matchup. Fucking unreal. Really unbelievable shit. Very good matchup. What else? The Young Bucks and holy shit. I forgot who was in the main event with the Young Bucks. Young Bucks and who? Oh boy. Anyway, the main event with the 6-man tag team match had the Young Bucks, Rey Mysterio, and some other guys in the main event. I forgot. You guys are probably gonna hate me for this. Whatever. It don't matter. The bottom line is the fucking show is awesome, and there ain't nothing to really be said. My only concern was the booking. That is really where it lies. The booking was bad. I did not like the way they booked this show. That's my only beef with this entire pay-per-view. Hangman Page was in action against Joey Marika. They had some weirded out storyline that if it was TV 14... If WWE was in TV 14, this definitely would be something Vince McMahon would have his hands all over on. Really, this reminded me a lot of WWE in a TV 14 fashion. Really fucked up. They had freaking Joey Ryan, who is the original person to compete for this one-on-one matchup between Hangman Page and himself, and he ends up supposedly storyline-wise get killed because of Hangman Page, but later on is revealed that Joey Marika, or whatever the hell his name is, ends up eliminating Joey Ryan out of the picture and kills him. I don't understand. None of this. The whole thing was based off of Joey Ryan's penis, if it was real or not. Really creepy shit. A lot like what Vince McMahon would probably do if WWE was TV 14 again. after the match was over, I mean, Hangman Page and his opponent, they really kind of roughed each other up a bit. Matchup wasn't all that great. I mean, it was good, but it was not anything of a hardcore match that was spelled out to be holy shit type moment outside of the powerbomb that, to me, looked pretty fucking botched. That match, that spot really sucked. His opponent broke one table, and then he was supposed to go through the other table next to it, but he ends up hitting the back of his skull on the hard part of the ramp, which is pretty fucking bad. So yeah, we got that match. Christopher Daniels faced Stephen Amell. Stephen Amell is a guy who competed against Stardust in a tag team match. Stardust had another tag team partner with him against Neville and Stephen Amell. Stephen Amell, to me, during this whole SummerSlam I think it was 2015, I didn't care for him. I didn't think anything of this guy. He went in the ring with a guy named Christopher Daniels, a man who specialized in X Division wrestling. He was a main eventer in the X Division scene of TNA. This guy, and a tag team champion multiple times with Frankie Kazarian in both Impact and in Ring of Honor. And these two guys, he was outstanding. He went tick for tat with not Frankie. I keep wanting to say Frankie Kazarian. I don't know why, but he was in the ring with Christopher Daniels, and Christopher Daniels helped him out in some ways. There was some botch spots here and there, and that's to be expected with Stephen Amell. The guy's only been trying to do this for 3 years. He's just an actor, and he's trying to do something that, something like CM Punk would try to do at UFC when CM Punk specializes in professional wrestling. Well, this is basically the same scenario, only this is a fixed show. The matches are all fixed, and people say it's fake. To me, it's not fake. It's just a fixed show. It's an orchestrated show, but everything that's done in that ring is real. It's choreographed correctly, realistically, and people can get hurt. So, if you're going to say wrestling is fake, then none of these wrestlers should be getting hurt. So, bottom line is, everything that you see on your screen, like the personalities, the people that you're seeing hating on the other, yes, that is fake. That is to build a storyline. That is to build drama and effect to get your interest in what you're watching. But at the end of the day, is professional wrestling fake? No. Professional wrestling is not fake. But it is fake to the extent of what is interacted between the people. That's the fake part. But the most important thing that makes it real is what they do in the ring. They may not try to hit each other for real. They may not try to do any of the things to purposely hurt each other. But they are in that ring to put on a show and a performance for you where they can get hurt. And if that is the case, then guess what? That ain't fucking fake to me. So that's all that can be said on that whole topic. The show also started off opening up with this young kid who came out of nowhere, been on the independent wrestling scene, not any major company that I've ever watched or seen him in. And this guy is by the name of MGF, I think. Yeah, I think it was MGF, they said his name, against this guy who's been in professional wrestling for 20 years. I've never seen him before. He's like in his 40s. His name's Alex Cross. This match was okay opener. It was decent. But it wasn't a match we should have seen. This should have been on the pre-show. On the pre-show, the match that should have been the opener to this was actually the Briscoe brothers, Frankie Kazarian and Scorpion Sky. Those two guys really had a decent opener type look to them. They did a really good job together. They blended well. It looked like they were doing a dance off with one another in the matchup. So they all knew what they were doing. They all kind of flowed together. The match really just flowed pretty well. Did it have its boring moments? Yes. Every match, I really got to be honest with you, had its slow moments. But as the time went on within the match, it started to pick up. It started to be enjoyable. And that's what a match should be like. Let me see here. And by the way, Frankie Kazarian and Scorpion Sky won that match, which was being said within the matchup itself that, these Frankie Kazarian and Scorpion Sky would possibly get a tag team title match against the Briscoes, which I think at this point the Briscoes need to lose the ROH tag team titles. They have had those titles for way too long, and they haven't been very impressive in my mind. I've seen the Briscoes before, and they're kind of declining in-ring competition, not in-ring competition, but in-ring productivity. I am not too satisfied with them lately. Jay Briscoe was really a great Ring of Honor champion, but his in-ring work lately has not been the same quality I used to remember him being at 2 or 3 years ago. So I hope at some point he picks it up and gets back to his old ways. Let's see here. Flip Gordon, he had his moment winning the Battle Royal, then going on to face Ring of Honor champion Jay Lethal, which I've already talked to you guys about. Let's see, what else? Oh, boy. Whew. Trying to remember all this stuff off the top of my head. Oh, yeah, the Four Corners women's matchup, which was the only match on the show. Tessa Blanchard, Chelsea White, Brittany Smith, I think her name was. She's a ROH women wrestler. And, oh boy, let me think off the top. I do apologize, guys. I'm going to go ahead and upload another video about the matches specifically, so I can give you guys a better review on the matches overall and the results. And go kind of through that and give you guys my star ratings on each and every one of them, because I don't feel like I've done a very good job on this per se. I'm just kind of giving you guys my insight and how I felt about the show overall. But yeah, Chelsea White, Tessa Blanchard, Madison Rayne, that's who it was, and Brittany Murphy. I can't remember her fucking name, damn it. But she's a Ring of Honor in-ring performer. These four women, you want to talk about evolution in women wrestling? These women put that fucking on. This was really good female wrestling. These women, they had their moments. They looked like kind of diva wrestlers, but most of the time, they looked like NXT type women wrestling. This was women wrestling at its finest. I know basically every woman that was involved in this match except for the ROH female wrestler. Other than that, the 3 out of the 4 I have seen in the ring. And I gotta tell you, Tessa Blanchard is going to be a phenomenon in professional wrestling for women, the women's division. She is gotta become, if Impact Wrestling has any in-ring talent they want to keep for the time that they exist, or for a very long time, or want to become anything, Tessa Blanchard better be their franchise female wrestler on their women's division. They better figure out a way to lock her in for a long-term deal for a while, maybe like 3-4 years type deal, for a while so that they can make sure that they can keep her on board with this company. Because I think if WWE ever picks her up and thinks that they should get her, WWE is going to pick up a gold mine. She is a fucking fantastic wrestler. Not also is she good technician wrestler, she's a fucking powerhouse. She picked up these women and threw them around like they were pieces of shit. She power through fucking I think it was Chelsea White over the top rope and onto the floor. I mean, if you can't get, she looks like China mixed with Charlotte Flair. That's it. She is a mixture of those two women. If you had Ronda Rousey and this broad, Tessa Blanchard, go one-on-one against each other, you'd have a unbelievably entertaining matchup, and not to mention a very realistic fight. These two women could put on a realistic fight for you. So Tessa Blanchard is a diamond. She is really what they say she is. She is a fucking fantastic wrestler, and I am super glad that TNA has her on their roster for their women's division. Because I'm telling you what, she is going to blow people's minds in the near future. What she's doing now is great, but what she's going to do in the future, I think she's going to be a gold mine. I think she's going to be a number one female wrestler in all of wrestling. At least for the female division. I don't know about overall of every professional wrestler in the world, male or female. But my God, she is a really good wrestler. And she picks up the victory, but there was a botched finish at the end. Her opponent that she nailed the arm behind the back DDT type finish that she performs. Her head did not hit the mat, so it didn't look as impactful as it normally does. But at the end of the day, who really gives a fuck? You're going to have your botches, you're going to have your mishaps and what have you. It's going to happen. Prime example of that, Stephen Amell is doing a coast-to-coast Rob Van Dam Terminator type finisher from one side of the ring to the other side of the ring while Christopher Daniels is in a corner. Dropped kicks him, he seems like he's falling a little bit short, and Christopher Daniels leans his head in to help him out and make the move look impactful to the audience. And it was a good job by by Christopher Daniels on his end, and a very good effort by Stephen Amell with a guy who's fucking only 3 years in as a professional wrestler, had his first singles matchup, and he did a good job for a guy who had his first one-on-one match against a guy who has been around for a long time and is a very good in-ring competitor. So that's all I can say on that situation. And that's just it, guys. I mean, this show had a lot to offer to you as a wrestling fan. They gave you heart. They gave you care. They gave you what you wanted. They gave you everything they had, and they did it because they had passion for what they're doing. You know, you take musicians, for example. There's musicians out there that go ahead and produce music and make a ton of money because they love what they do. And then there's guys that go out there and they just make music because they want to make money. They don't give a fuck about anything else. WWE used to be the company that would want to make money, make people happy. Now WWE's attitude, because of Vince McMahon, most importantly because of the way he runs his business now, he does not have that heart anymore. He does not have the drive or care that he once did at one point when he was a younger man. I don't know, maybe it's Vince McMahon's age that makes him feel that way, and he's just trying to reap the benefits of how much money this company has built over the years with his father and him running it. But he is not the same man he once was running WWE. Triple H shows signs of positive movement when going into the future with Vince McMahon being gone. I honestly think we're going to see serious change with Triple H, with WWE. But until then, there has to be an alternative, and this is it. This is the real deal. This is what people want to see. People want to see professional wrestling. Not over the top storyline ridiculousness with dumbass characters with stupid ass attitudes. They want to see guys going in the ring having clean finishes and hard fought matches between two guys. That's what they want to see. They want to get that authentic feel to what you would normally see in a sport that's not fixed. That's all there is to it. That's all people really want. That's what I want. That's what I enjoyed about this show. Regardless of the booking, regardless of how well they performed, whether I liked the way they performed or not, they had heart. And because of that, that's what made people interested. Another match that is the most simplest thing that they did. Okada and Marty Scurll. Great matchup. I started to get tired near this point because I've been watching this show for fucking almost 4 hours. 4 hours. I was getting tired. I was getting exhausted from cheering and screaming my full head off. And I laid down on my bed, and once I laid down on my bed, that was it. I was out. There was nothing left of me. So I passed out by like the main event, and I had to rewatch the main event and the ending of the Okada Marty Scurll match. But at the end of the day, they got the crowd invested in a storyline that was last minute put into it to give it some kind of reasoning why they're having the match. It was real simple. Marty Scurll wants to become a heavyweight wrestler. He's being told backstage by a bunch of officials that you're not going to become a heavyweight champion ever. You're a cruiserweight. You're a junior heavyweight champion. That's what you're good for. Blah, 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 blah. Well, at the end of the day, guys, whether he won or lost, he put on such a great match with Okada. You can't say that he's not worthy of being a heavyweight wrestler. I honestly think he doesn't belong in no cruiserweight division. He belongs in the heavyweight championship scene. More importantly, in fucking Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, he has had world title shots, and I think he needs to become the next world champion against Jay Lethal. I think that would be the perfect guy to take the title from Jay Lethal would be Marty Scurll. That's how I feel about it. Honestly, guys, there is nothing more I could really say to you. I've said everything I can. I may not give you the best review when it came to the matches, but I'm giving you my overall feelings and criticism of what I saw at this event. This event really gave the wrestling fan an opportunity to finally have something else to cheer for besides WWE. Because WWE has failed their audience. They have failed their fans. They have failed everything that they got going for them, and they're a fucking money juggernaut. Well, eventually, that money juggernaut is going to be deflated. And when that money juggernaut becomes deflated, they're going to be desperate. They're not going to have a big roster either. They're not going to be able to keep all these wrestlers that are great on their roster for very long if they continue to have shit like this happening in the wrestling world. One thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to be finished with this review. I honestly think if you saw what was going on, every wrestling company that is a major player that you could see on TV that's not as big as WWE are partnered together. They were working together on one show. Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan Wrestling, and Luchador Underground were all working under one banner. I think that professional wrestling doesn't need to have competition where one business takes out the other and eliminates them out of existence. That shit really needs to stop. If WWE wants to last a long time, I think WWE needs to take advantage of what the independent wrestling scene has to offer, and instead of buying them out, work with them, have partnerships with them, have world championship invasions, have invasion, stuff. People love that kind of crap. It does get a little bit boring and reiterated and redone and rehashed, but every once in a while you could have mixed shows. You want to talk about Raw and SmackDown. Raw and SmackDown are WWE. You want to talk about co-shows. How about having co-shows where there's two companies on one pay-per-view? How about doing that? See, if they would have done that with WCW, I think that would have been pretty fucking cool back in the day, but they just didn't go along with it, I guess, and they just couldn't work out the kinks to make that happen. From what I've read, that's what they were trying to do. But the bottom line is, these companies came together as a whole, making a one awesome show that could be rivaled with NXT TakeOver shows. Now, I'll be honest with you, NXT TakeOver shows are fucking awesome. They are exactly what All In was trying to present to us last night. And honestly, they pretty much did to most of what I was seeing. But their booking skills in this show was off the walls. I did not agree with that. That was the only issue really I had. So at this time, guys, leave your comments and opinions down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that, as well as hit the like button if you liked the video and hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And I hope you guys have a great night, and thank you very much for watching. Bye.